There's like a terrible irony in the fact that Comey wasn't charged, but Flynn was charged, when you look at the details of exactly what was going on. Now remember, the reason that Comey kept Memo 4, and that was the one he wanted released to the New York Times, was he thought it was such a huge deal that Trump asked him to let Flynn go because Flynn really didn't do anything wrong. And Comey thought, as an American hero, he had to do something once he was fired. And he had to leak this information, which we know wasn't his personal notes, but was the property of the FBI. The irony is that Comey, in his interview with Congress talking with Susan Collins, actually more blatantly lied than Flynn. Yet Flynn was charged, arrested, and had to plead guilty to not get other charges levied against him. And now we act like, oh, see, Flynn was guilty. It was a terrible thing. If that's our response, and that was Comey's feeling that Flynn clearly did something, and it was so horrible of Trump to ask him to let go, then why shouldn't Comey be held to the exact same justice system with his lies to Susan Collins and Senator Blunt with the questions they had? So I'm going to read the relevant documents as the 302 that the FBI released, that this was where it was deemed that Flynn was lying, and then read the sections that show where Comey was lying to Susan Collins and Senators Blunt. So let's start with Flynn. Here's the beginning of the relevant part. The interviewing agents asked Flynn if he recalled any conversation with Kislyak surrounding the expulsion of Russian diplomats or closing of Russian properties in response to the Russian hacking activities surrounding the election. Again, never forget, what Flynn was accused of lying of was that we had Obama put sanctions on Russia. Flynn, who was going to be the incoming Secretary of State, asked the Russian diplomat, please don't retaliate. How is that a bad thing? Like, of course we don't want Russia to retaliate. Even Obama wouldn't want Russia to retaliate. So that's what he was accused of. That was the horrible crime that he was accused of. Now notice the language here. The FBI asked if Flynn recalled. Do you remember this? Let's see what Flynn says. Flynn stated he did not. He did not recall that. He reiterated his conversation was about, and it's redacted. Flynn noted he was not aware of the upcoming actions. The FBI then goes on. The interviewing agent asked Flynn if he recalled any conversation with Kislyak in which the expulsions were discussed, where Flynn might have encouraged Kislyak not to escalate the situation, to keep the Russian response reciprocal, or to not engage in a tit for tat. Flynn responded, not really. I don't remember. It wasn't don't do anything. Now, if everyone who said, I don't recall or I don't remember is charged with lying to Congress or to the FBI, we'd have jails full of these people. How many times did Comey himself say? 90-something times? He didn't recall, he didn't remember? The U.S. government's response was a total surprise to Flynn. Flynn did not know about the persona non grata action until it was in the media. Now the FBI is going to ask him a third time. Remember, the FBI already had this information. They set it up, Comey admitted he set it up in a unique situation so that Flynn wouldn't have counsel with him. Flynn thought he was just talking. He didn't think he was under investigation for anything. There was this entire lie in the media that, oh, he violated the Logan Act because as the incoming part of the administration, he talked to a Russian. That's not a crime. John Kerry, for God's sakes, over talking to Iranians, trying to subvert Trump's decisions on Iran, which is the media saying he should be charged with the Logan Act? So Flynn thought, hey, this report's in the media. These guys are just coming to talk to me. Yeah, it's a real loose thing. But the FBI's trying to nail him. Comey's trying to nail him because they hate Trump. This was a witch hunt against Trump from the get-go. Third time they asked the question. The interviewing agents asked Flynn if he recalled any conversation with Kislyak in which Kislyak told him the governments of Russia had taken into account the incoming administration's positions about the expulsion, or where Kislyak said the government of Russia had responded or chosen to modulate their response in any way to the U.S. actions as a result of the request by the incoming administration. Flynn stated it was possible that he talked to Kislyak on the issue, but if he did not remember doing so. That is what Flynn was charged with lying about. Do you recall? No, I don't recall. Are you sure you don't recall? Maybe, I don't remember. Are you sure you don't recall? I mean, I guess it's possible. I just don't remember that. That was a lie. That's what was considered to be a lie by Flynn. This is why the FBI had to go after him strong. Even though the original agents that talked to Flynn didn't think he was intentionally lying, the FBI and Mueller decided to go after him. They decided to turn the screws on him. Comey thought it was a big deal to go after him. Now, let's see what Comey said. Do you see that? I don't recall. Maybe that could have happened. I just don't remember. That was considered a lie. Let's see what Comey said. Let me just check real quick to make sure this is... Yeah, okay, we're on the right page. Senator Collins asked, and finally, did you show copies of your memos to anyone outside of the Justice Department? He says yes. She says, who did you show copies to? He says, I asked, the president tweeted on Friday, May 12th, after I got fired, that I better hope that there's not tapes. I woke up in the middle of the night and Monday night because it didn't dawn on me originally there might be corroboration for our conversation. There might be a tape. And my judgment was I needed to get that info into the public square. And so I asked a friend of mine to share the content of the memo with the reporter. Didn't do it myself for a variety of reasons, but I asked him to because I thought it might prompt the appointment of a special counsel. And so I asked a friend of mine to do it. Now we know that Comey gave these memos to 3 people. Collins asked, who did you give it to? He says, I gave it to this one guy because I woke up in the middle of the night. That is a lie. He gave it to 3 people. Collins says, was that person Mr. Witts? Comey says no. Collins says, who was it? A good friend of mine who's a professor at Columbia Law School. Thank you, Collins says. That is a lie. That is more of a lie than what Flynn told. I don't recall. Maybe that could have happened. Who all did you give this to? I gave it to one person. Comey says, oh, I was waiting for follow-up questions. Or I didn't think it counted that I gave it to my lawyers. Wrong. He lied. He intentionally misled Collins by not giving the full truth to her question. He knew that he gave it to more people, but he lied and said he only gave it to one. Now, Senator Blunt's questioning. But you said something earlier I don't want to fail to follow up on. You said after you were dismissed, you gave information to a friend so that the friend could get the information to public media. Now, Comey could have said after this follow-up, well, I gave it to some other people too. But he doesn't. He just says correct. What kind of information was that? What kind of information did you give a friend? The Flynn conversation. The president asked me to let Flynn, I'm forgetting my exact own words, but the conversation in the Oval Office. That's not true. He gave that friend more information than that. That was memo 4. He also gave them memo 2 and 7, I believe. 2 and 6 or 2 and 7. So he gave him 3 memos, not just this conversation. So he lied to Senator Blunt. He didn't say, I don't recall, I might have gave more, like Flynn did. He lied. Now, Comey thought that Flynn's supposed lying to the FBI was such a big deal that the president wanted this to just be let go, that he had to leak to the American people. He had to create a memo. He had to leak to the press because he was a hero. He was saving the country because lying to the FBI is that big of a deal. Even though the supposed lie was about the most reasonable thing possible. An incoming member of an administration talking to a political rival saying, don't attack us, don't do anything. We want to try to have a good relationship. And he said, I don't recall, I don't remember, that could have happened, I'm just not sure. That got him charged. That got Flynn charged. That meant Comey had to leak this information because it was such a big deal. But when we see the blatant lies, 2 lies to 2 senators that Comey told, more blatant than what Flynn told, Comey doesn't have that same judgment in himself. He thought that this was perfectly reasonable. And so did the prosecutors. This is the double standard we're talking about. McCabe could lie to Congress, no problem. Clapper could lie to Congress, no problem. Comey could lie to Congress, no problem. But if Flynn or Cohen or Papadopoulos or anyone connected to Trump does anything that could be conceived even remotely as a lie, saying, I don't remember, that could have happened. Oh, that's a lie. They need to be charged. That's what I'm talking about. When you see people like Joe Genova and others saying, oh, yeah, that are allies of Trump saying, well, there's not enough to charge Comey here. Ridiculous. He lied to Congress. If there was enough to charge Flynn, there's enough to charge Comey. It's in black and white right here. And no one's talking about it. So, if you like this video, please like and subscribe. Follow me on BitChute as well, which I'll put a link into that you can follow me. But it's important to be on multiple platforms because who knows when YouTube will decide to censor me. And I'm going to be doing a live stream here in an hour at 12 Eastern that you can check out on YouTube, where I'm going to just be talking about my frustration with Attorney General Barr and the double standard that we constantly see. That every time these people, when they're nailed dead to rights, like Hillary, like Mills, like Abedin, like their tech guy Paul Gambetta, like Brennan, like Clapper, like Comey, when we have them dead to rights on the same crimes that they go after, the Podesta group, we can't forget them, the same crimes that they complain about people connected to Trump, and they go as hard as possible after those people connected to Trump, they get nothing, no punishment whatsoever. So that's going to be at noon Eastern time. So just in an hour here that I'll be doing that video. So thanks everyone and have a good one.